And joining us now in the studio to understand the complexities of the issues is a director at Abuja School of Social and Political Thought and Arise News analyst, Dr. Sam Amadi. Welcome to News Night. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Help us understand this issue. Of course, some people have described it as a very serious, allegation. So, what does it say about Nigeria's, global perception and diplomatic standing?
Well, you mean the Binance allegation first, or the Canadian?
I think both, of course.
Okay, sure.
From back to back, from
okay.
Canada, and of course now.
I think they kind of impeach. First, one is on Nigeria's credibility, reputation. One is on respect for the country. I mean, visas are at the discretion of countries, but there are diplomatic recognitions and privileges that you expect. So if the Chief of Defense Staff, that's at the height of Nigerian military, echelon, is traveling for an official duty to a country like Canada, you don't expect that visas will be rejected. I mean, the normal condition for refusal of visa, either because the receiving country thinks you don't have enough root in your country, you will likely disappear, refuse to come back. You don't have the resources to sustain yourself for the days you're going to. You have criminal records. So those are usual, and none of those would apply in this circumstance. So it's really it's a disrespect, perhaps unexpected. And the Canadians have issued a very terse statement saying, look, they will not disclose particulars about visa applicants. But the stories are there, two perspectives. One, reported by The Nation, that some officials in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs claims that it was because there was no attached note verbal. I mean, note verbal is a primary legal instrument by which foreign ministry communicates to embassies about official government business. So the idea here is that if Nigeria top leadership, defense leaders are going for official duty, the foreign affairs attaches the information and then requests the grant of privilege by those countries to top officials. And a matter of course. So if it is true that a DEX officer was so negligent that they didn't include it, then that could be explained. But again, the question is, half of this team had already gone. So is it that they are processed different times and this later was, and if that's the case, the foreign affair, the Canadian could as well request for additional note verbal for these people, because so it's likely that this is essential. The Canadian embassy decided to disallow visa for some reasons, either that the team, as some are alleging, 70 people going for a mere Invictus games. So people say, what the heck? I mean, why do you need the Chief of Defense Staff to go for a game that the Prince and some other people have put together to celebrate veterans, injured soldiers? Is it enough for 70 or so, as alleged, Nigerian officials to fly to Canada? So it might be two things here. That's a sense in which Canadian embassy kind of feels this is frivolous, and we have to control migration to our country. We have to control visa, and so we don't think we should grant these people. Or some other classified, issues that are waiting for them to deny visa. I mean, routine things that the visa should be granted to the Chief of Defense Staff and top soldiers. Then if it's because the proper official formalities were not followed, then it speaks to Nigeria's tardiness. At any rate, it's terrible. And again, the fact that the NSA flipped and said, go to hell, I mean, that was probably cut off hot mic. That's not the right way to go about it. And again, maybe the Foreign Affairs Minister, if they could call up someone, the ambassador, high commissioner, to explain the circumstances. But at any rate, it's Canada and Nigeria are not in any serious diplomatic crisis at all. And it looks like Nigerian government is playing want to play it soft and leave it to float, basically.
Okay. Let's talk a bit more about the 150 million, bribery allegation against Nigerian lawmakers, with conflicting, because even the lawmakers, one of them was here yesterday. I think Honorable Onsibe was here because he has a direct oversight function, in terms of investigation and all of that. But now we're seeing conflicting responses for both sides. But do you think this is a case of a whistleblower exposing corruption, or maybe an attempt by Binance to deflect regulatory scrutiny?
Oversight. I think it's difficult to say, but look at 3 points I would like to make. I mean, first, a foreign national running a business in Nigeria is perhaps alleged or accused of some financial crime, okay? Held in custody for a significant period of time. The Kenyan escaped, the American couldn't. It took some diplomatic, back and forth to probably get him out. At that point, what's really the oversight the National Assembly is doing over a crime? I mean, look at it this way. He has been arrested. We know there were official statements as to they were even taken to tribunal court for visa, for detention orders and all that. That's not a proper setting for parliamentary inquiry. The officials of Nigeria are on top of the job. So the person who should be brought there should not be this accused person, but rather the officials of Nigeria to explain. So I think that anyhow, these officials, these parliamentarians got themselves into a situation where it looks credible that perhaps the allegations now sound credible. Why are you interrogating them? Is it as a police officer? You're not conducting an inquiry into Binance activities, in which case it's not actually under that condition. That would be clear. So first is the mode of engagement does not suggest valid parliamentary inquiry. So it creates opportunity. The narrative he gave out, which might not be true, but the narrative is this like a shambolic stuff. They bring cameras that are not connected and pose as if, and then it was just sham to extort money and to make the demand. So sitting here, I'm asking myself, but why would this kind of hearing should have plenary, full complementary hearing with journalists, with everybody reported? Because this is about serious inquiry.
Not just within the members of the
Not just
committee.
between 3 people or 4 people sitting with this lone guy who is coming from detention, who is disempowered, who is kind of in a weak state. Okay. So the point is that anyhow, this is not a matter to properly, it's not a case of, it's not true. I think at this point, the Nigerian secret police should actually wade in, because it borders on Nigeria's integrity. I mean, this is 150 million allegation. And by the way, if you look at Facebook, this guy on Twitter, this guy is everywhere, making these cases. It's gone viral. It builds up in the marketing the Nigerian government and creating this whole idea. And that's why the backlash and also the spat on the NSA and everybody, which many people say cannot be true. But all these things build up to a need to now go into and bring a closure, some investigative, some definitive statement as to what happened. It's not enough to say it's not true. My first word is, why are you guys dabbling into everything? Why do you need to engage this guy one-on-one? You should engage the Nigerian officials who have custody of him. If you're investigating the institution itself, it should be a full complement of investigation with journalists, with everybody, not this...
Quickly, if you can do this in 30 seconds, if you were to advise the Nigerian government, what would be the best way to navigate this crisis without, worsening diplomatic relation? The Canada issue, then, of course, now we're having the U.S. Binance.
I think the Canada issue is almost like clear. You just have to establish that, look, it was Nigeria's fault or it was disrespect from Canada. If it was a letter, they will have to query them. We have to bring the ambassador, summon him, and register strong disaffection. On the Binance own, I think you need openness. We need to come out with the facts. These guys need to come out. The secret police should, the police, the DSS should investigate what actually happened, because it seems to me on the whole procedure perhaps lend credence, or they play into this blackmail. If it's a blackmail, they play into it. And it's a lesson for parliamentarians. Stop dabbling into criminal matters. If you're going to conduct inquiry, it's not 2, 3 people calling people, come and talk to them. You have to conduct inquiry with all the dignity and all the public, the media should be there, live telecast, but this is issue, so everybody knows what goes on. Don't have a bilateral with criminals or people who are been suspected of crime, and then later they come and tell us, you ask for money, say it's not you. We can't believe you because it's really, self-inflicted harm in my view.
Thank you for your insightful analysis as usual, Dr. Sam Amadi, Director at Abuja School of Social and Political Thought. Thank you so much for your time on Newsnight.